And at long last, we're looking at something that is both not brand new and also not huge. Because those last couple of videos, oh boy. Anyway, today we're taking a look at Takara's United UN19, I believe. Sorry, bumped the camera. UN19 Wheeljack. And this is just, it's the Takara release of Generations Wheeljack. And this is a very cool figure that I'm noticing some gunk on the inside of the windshield there. I need to check that later. But yeah, this is a figure that I was always kind of curious about. I don't really have any interest in tracks, so I was like, well, Wheeljack, and then, yeah. So, got this. This is very cool. I can see what all the fuss is about. It's definitely not animation accurate in the same way that Reveal the Shield Jazz and thus United Jazz is not animation accurate, but like that's fine. And this is a cool car. I like the contours of it, the unnecessary front section that just sweeps forward like a really brutal cowcatcher on a train, or like maybe a Mad Max thing. But yeah, this is neat car, nice contours. As I said, it's from the tracks mold, but Wheeljack wears it well, and it's just neat. There's a lot of, I think, like, I don't remember how this compares to, is that paint or is that, okay, looks like there's a little paint missing back there. That's a shame. But anyway, I'm going off, getting off track by a big margin. So this is the Takara version, so it is covered in really nice premium-ish paint. There's like this gunmetal for all the rims. The greens are very nice, like almost dark forest green, but it's metallic, which is really cool. The reds are nice and dark too. You also have the rear, I don't know, that's not really a grille, but like this bit here that's in gunmetal, and then you got the taillights in red. And then around front, you got the headlights in silver, grille in that gunmetal. It's a very simple color scheme, like in terms of what's painted, but it works really well, and it's very evocative of Wheeljack, even if it's not like specifically totally accurate to the animation. But it's a, as I said, really nice car. I like the contours of it a lot. The vehicle mode is full of the underside is full of like weird, obvious robot junk, which is fine. And yeah, rolls well, is good. Before we do size comparisons and all that, I may as well do the flying car mode, because this is based on tracks. So if you just pop open the back here, and I don't want to separate this here because that makes it easier. So separate that. Also, almost forgot, you want to unclip these sections, which I like that those store from the everything, all like the accessories store on the car. But anyway, with all this undone, you can untab the doors from here, and then fold everything down on this green hinge here. I gotta be careful with this one because that hinge is very tight, and the first time I tried to do this, it popped the thing off here. It's not a big deal, I just pop it back on, but just something to be mindful of. Now, actually, while this is open, let me see if that's... I don't like that in there. I can't tell if it's like... It doesn't feel like it's on the outside, so I think it... Okay, it is on the inside. I think it's like paint or something. I need to try and remove that later. But anyway, these bits just tab back into the sides here. This will... there's little tabs on the inside here that tab back into the backs of what are obviously the forearms, and this folds back down. The wheels They actually kind of stay where they are because these fit down kind of far, but just rotate these out, and then rotate out the wingtips. And then these bits just clip onto these little struts here to give them guns. And you can see the little clip and strut. Clip it on. And here we have the flying car mode, and it is dire. It's cute, and I get it because, you know, tracks, but it's not great. So we're just going to turn him back into a regular car. Yeah, flying car mode is a thing that exists. And now that we've looked at it, we never have to deal with it again. So, there we go. There is United Wheeljack's vehicle mode. Let's bring in our size comparisons. There is Dinobot, Oval Prime, Samus, and Burnout. Ah! Whack the light pretty hard. Okay. So there is everyone there. Let's get all these out of the way, as nobody cares about that size comparison. But here is United, and by extension, Generations Wheeljack next to a modern deluxe. So there is how they work out. And like, Wheeljack is bigger, but not much. Like, he's more squished down and spread out. But Burnout is kind of more, you know, compacted in but squished up. So there's that. We looked at him earlier, but here is United Jazz. And United Jazz is from the Reveal the Shield mold, not the Generations Jazz. But I guess Reveal the Shield Jazz was technically kind of Generations Jazz. So here are the two of them together. Here's how they look. And bring in some more Wheeljacks. So here is, I forget the company behind this. Pretty sure it's APC Toys, even though I don't think it actually says it. But this is Wander Warrior, the slightly upgraded knockoff of Prime Wheeljack, but it's the same size as Prime Wheeljack. So there's how those two look together. And for one more Wheeljack, here is Origins Wheeljack, or Origin Wheeljack. But, you know, while this guy looks significantly bigger, keep in mind the interior is practically hollow by design, because, you know, Origin Bumblebee fits in there. But yep, there is all that. And finally, for our most important of size comparisons, here is United Wheeljack with the duck tank. All right, before we turn this Wheeljack into a robot, if you like this video or anything else that I've done on the channel and you'd like to support me monetarily, I do have a Ko-fi or Patreon. Links to both at the end of the video as well as down in the description. Otherwise, you could always do the typical YouTube thing of like, comment, share, subscribe. That kind of support totally counts too. Now, let us transform United, and by extension, Generations Wheeljack, into robot mode. And this is an interesting transformation. So first, going to disconnect these bits from here, just like with the the flying car mode. These just unclipped. Definitely better to do these first, because you kind of need them to get out of the way. But unclip those, put them off to the side. The back section here pops up and pulls out, and that will inevitably untab from the backs of the hands. And this whole thing folds back, and then this clump here unpegs from here, and this rotates out to form another weapon. And so now we've got all of these. These can just go off to the side, and we can move on to the rest of the robot. So going to straighten out the arms, angle them forward, rotate the wheels around, and rotate the arms out. So you can actually see what I'm doing. Rotate the arms out, rotate the wheels forward like that. We will deal with this more later. This is mostly for tracks. These go in a slightly different place for Wheeljack, but just to get things out of the way for the transformation, I like to have them facing that way. I'm going to rotate the bicep, and then rotate the hand, because you want the elbow facing the front. So rotate the bicep, rotate the hand, and that's pretty much it for as much as we can do for the upper body right now. I'm going to disconnect this piece so that we can fold that up a little bit and get access to these side doors. Bring those out. This is a lot like the flying car mode. So you want to fold these down on those hinges and bring these up and flip these up. And again, fold down. Just careful on this one because it likes to pop out. It's just so stiff. There we go. Now, these joints are on sliders, so you actually want to pull them out all the way. And with those pulled out, now they can angle up. Actually swing up here. So this will swing up and kind of soft lock itself into place. Same deal here, swing up like so. And can kind of angle these as necessary. I try to kind of get them about like that. That's the angle I prefer. And now this whole thing tucks back around. You can flip out this piece. Now this comes down, and this section back here goes over this kind of tab back here, and then these bits, these two bits here, will tab in back here. So bring that down, then bring this down and in, and still got to make sure that this clears the doors, but bring that in, and that will peg in pretty securely. And that gives us the backpack and the wings. Going to split the front and then pull down to slide down the legs very slightly. There's not a lot going on here, but it just slides down and clicks into place. And again, like you're not getting a lot out of that, but it gives them a little bit of extra height. Then you want to fold the front down so that it untabs from here. And you want to take this entire assembly here, that like all of this and the wheel even are all on one big swivel that will swivel down. There you can kind of see the assembly, this little gray piece. So that all swivels down. And once that's swiveled down, can just kind of bring that back up and into place. So those are the legs done. And then finally, and rotate these pieces down here for the to get the arms in place, and a little bit of Generations style automorph. You can slide the roof section up, and that will bring the head up as well as push out the arms. And I bring it back in, you can see that it kind of sucks everything in. So by pushing that up, it widens the torso and brings up the head. And there we go. There is United Wheeljack in robot mode, and that's pretty cool. Oh, actually, technically not Wheeljack in robot mode. You want to take the wheels and bring them back towards the sides of the arms. And what I find is because of the wings back here, you're not really going to be able to get these directly line up with the shoulders because they kind of crash into this. So you kind of want to have them out at a very slight angle. But that is how you do those. And of course, you can angle them forward if you want. You know, it's your toy. It's whatever. But that is, I believe the intended orientation is to have them facing out rather than forward, because facing forward is what you do with tracks. But yeah, here is Generations Wheeljack, United Wheeljack, and this is actually pretty cool. I like how he's a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit more serious for a G1-ish Wheeljack design. Not that he's unserious in other G1-ish Wheeljacks, but I don't know, this just seems like there's a little bit more of an, I don't want to say edge, I think that's giving it way too much credit, but like it just seems a little bit more, I don't know, chunky, a little bit more intense. It's cool. And you also have his accessories, which we'll attach them now and then we'll deal with them later. So what we can do with these is these actually, they're these little bars back here, right back here, that these can clip onto. So you can just clip that on there, and that will store the pipes on the legs. You can also like use the hinge to angle them up a little bit if you want to do that. So that stores those weapons. And then this thing can clip onto either side here. And you can, again, kind of use that hinge to adjust it. And that gives you Wheeljack's shoulder thingy. So there you go. Let's slide this over a little bit, because the one thing that bums me out about the way they did this here is that like these don't go out far enough. I mean, that's part of the design. Like this, the wings get in the way. I get that, but it does kind of stink that everything's kind of tucked a little bit too close to the head for my liking. But anyway, there we go. There is United, Takara United Wheeljack in robot mode, and it does look really good. He's a little bit stocky. I don't mind it, but he's a little stocky. Like the legs and torso in particular really make him look chunky. Like the lower legs are really beefy, the upper body really beefy, especially the way it like widens out like that. And from what I've seen, one of the big, not big, but like one of the significant changes between Wheeljack and Trax is that for Trax, the sliders for the legs, I mean, one for Trax, you have him like this way, and these are the fronts of the feet, which you can still do with Wheeljack if you want. It doesn't look great, but you can do it. Also just now noticing this little green bit here that's not, I guess it's to, it's weird. But anyway, that's how Trax goes, but like Trax's legs do extend a bit further, so it makes him a little bit taller and less stocky looking. But that's how Wheeljack goes. And yeah, that does contribute to him looking a little bit on the stocky side, but it's still really cool. I like the color scheme. I don't want to say like he's ever so slightly off-white, because real quick, if we bring Jazz back in here, you can see Jazz's color scheme is a little bit brighter white. So there's that, but it's like a very, very subtle off-white with that really nice metallic green and the red. You get a little bit of this kind of gunmetal-y color in the chest section revealed now. It's neat. I like it. It looks good. He's not very kibbly. Like, you got the back of the car here, make it a big backpack, but it's not that bad. And considering, you know, this is like the older generation's toy, like, I get it. It doesn't really bug me. The only thing that sucks is like this doesn't lock in place when you raise it up. So you can like accidentally nudge it down if you're not like paying too close attention, but it's not like loose or anything like that. It's not going to fall down on its own. But if you are messing with this guy, it's because it doesn't lock, it is possible to accidentally get it to shift, which is not the worst, but could be better. But yeah, he's cool. I like it. I don't know. Now for the head, it is a very Wheeljack head. There is light piping, but it's very, very like, you can see the piping block is like down here, and so the eyes just look dead. I think I am going to do what I did with Jazz here, and I'm probably going to open the head up and just paint those eyes because they look absolutely dead. But it is Wheeljack's head. It's very Wheeljacky. Looking at the other designs that I have, like off to the side, which we already kind of looked at, like especially Origin Wheeljack, that is very G1 Wheeljack. This head, a little bit narrower, The ears seem to sit a little bit lower and extend out further, and then like the crests on the head aren't quite as pronounced. But it still is undeniably Wheeljack, especially the multi-layered faceplate, and again, like the ears, there's no mistaking that for Wheeljack. I do like, though, that you've got the silver for all the necessary bits being called out, but like that silver goes all the way around to the backs of the ears. That's nice. I just wish those eyes actually like see into them. Like if I try to, I don't even think. No, I'm trying to angle it for the light, and you really can't see much in terms of the eyes actually lighting up. Yeah, that is a shame. But easily fixed. So as you saw, the head is on a ball joint, so it does tilt left and right. It does go all the way around, and it can look up only that far and down that far. The arms, the shoulders are on ball joints and can rotate all the way around, except the wings get in the way, but can still rotate around pretty far and can go out that far. But if you use this other joint, you can go out much further. You've got bicep rotation. The elbows are double jointed, as for the transformation, but you get double jointed elbows. You've got rotating wrists. You have a rotating waist. The hips are on ball joints that can go forward that far. If you get the hood or the roof out of the way, they can go forward a little further. Go back that far. They can go out to pretty much the full 90. You can use that ball joint as a thigh swivel. That's pretty effective. But you also get a thigh swivel up here, just above the knee, which, thank goodness for that. I hate when they put the swivels below the knee, because then it kind of defeats the purpose. But anyway, you also get a pretty much 90-degree bend. And again, like the swivel's above the knee, so that's good. And then for the feet, you actually have these bits, and these bits are ball jointed, so you can rotate both of those out to give him ankle tilts, which is really cool. I like that a lot. I do need to tighten up those hips, though. Those ball joints are just a little too loose for my liking, but again, I can do that pretty easily. And now, before getting to the accessories, which we already kind of briefly looked at, I do want to say one thing that does kind of bug me about the design of this guy is I wish more happened with this window section. Like, it's fine where it is, but like it sits just a little bit too low for my liking, so it kind of looks like he's a short guy wearing an untucked shirt. Nothing wrong with short guys, but like this, just if it just could go up just a little bit higher, or if this came down just a little bit lower, it just wouldn't, like, just having this hanging down here really feels like an untucked shirt to me, and I don't really, like, I'm not super fond of that look. It's fine. It doesn't like ruin the figure or anything, but it could have been a bit cleaner. Anyway, we saw this stuff, but we can unclip this, fold this little piece back, and peg this into his hand, which is a little tricky because of the open hand design, but it does peg in, and give him a more of like a regular gun. And then the pipes you can unclip, and they have two different functions they can serve, which is pretty darn cool. You can leave them separated like this, and they can go into his hand as wrenches, which absolutely works with Wheeljack, and I love that that's an option. But the thing that I prefer to do is take these, and instead of using this as a shoulder thing, clip these into that spot behind the head, and have these be Wheeljack's shoulder mounted or behind the head mounted whatevers. And you can use like the swivel from the clip as well as the joint built into the actual arm itself to choose like how you want them to sit. I prefer something like that. And there you go. There you've got United Wheeljack with shoulder launcher things and a gun, and that, I don't know, that works for me. I like that quite a bit. Just like as much as I complain about the stature thing, specifically the untucked shirts, I feel like once you get this guy into an even semi-decent pose, I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to complain after that because he does look incredibly cool. Like, I don't know, that's neat. That looks really neat to me, and this really makes me appreciate this figure as its own take on Wheeljack. I like that a lot. And the kind of premium Takara paint job doesn't hurt either. But now we've got to look at sizes. So let's bring back Dinobot and Prime. And where are you? And Samus and Burnout. And there are our typical size comparisons. And let's get you all out of here. There we go. And now we can kind of look at these two a little bit more closer together. So we've got older generations, classics, whatever style deluxe next to a more modern deluxe. And yes, the modern deluxe is definitely the I don't know, I wanted to say lesser, but I don't think lesser is the correct way to put it. Because Burnout is, like, it's a different ethos for the design, but also, like, there are certain aspects to this that are very different than this. Like, yes, actually the weights are pretty close to the same as I'm holding them. At least they feel close to the same, but, like, the aesthetic's different. The design, like, the actual engineering design is drastically different between the two. But Wheeljack definitely has more bulk. But, like, height-wise, Burnout's actually a little taller. But then again, you know, as I said, like, this guy is a little bit more short than Trax, so it kind of, I feel like, well, you'll see what I mean in a second. Let's get Burnout out of the way here and bring in United Jazz, because, you know, United Jazz is also deluxe. So here you've got deluxe and deluxe, and, like, the size difference here is much more noticeable. And I don't know that Trax is the same height as Jazz, but, like, it does, you know, that lack of extension in the legs does make Wheeljack a bit shorter. But I also really dig how these two look together because, like, they're totally different, but the aesthetics do kind of align in a way that's pretty cool. I like how you've got some sort of extra detailing, harsher angles in a few places. The I don't know, like, obviously the Takara premium paint job helps for both of them too, but there's definitely something about, like, the Generations Thrilling 30 United, or no, I guess Generations came before that, but, like, Generations Classics United, like, that whole aesthetic is pretty cool. I kind of wish we would go back to, not necessarily go back to that specifically, but, like, go back to the era of this looks like the character, but not, like, you know, strictly as much like the character as we can make it. Like, say, Wonder Warrior here, or Prime Wheeljack, where you've got a figure that's, or a character that's like, you know, this is Wheeljack, but a different interpretation. I really like that they just, I love when they do different things with the character designs, which is why this works for me so well too. It's recognizable as the character it's supposed to be while still very much being unique in its own thing. Also, Prime Wheeljack is taller by a little bit. And we'll bring in Origin Wheeljack, who is a Voyager that is deluxe height, and these two are actually pretty close to the same height. There's that. Also, weirdly, they kind of wear their bulk in the same way. Like, most of the bulk for Generations and United Wheeljack is in the legs below the knees and the back, like the backpack. And Origin Wheeljack, same deal. It's the below the knees is super bulky, and the backpack is just, I don't know, it's kind of funny. Like, looking at those heads next to each other, you can see what I'm talking about how United / Generations Wheeljack's head is a little bit like kind of pinched in, with the head crest being also kind of pinched in and reduced, and like the ears kind of being like squished down and stretched out a little bit. But still, as I said, very identifiable as Wheeljack. And finally, for the most important size comparison, here he is with the duck tank. And that is going to do it for Takara United UN19 Wheeljack, or by extension, Generations Wheeljack. I did not show off blast effect stuff, but that's kind of because it doesn't really work. There's no thing for this to go into. The tip of this, it actually, nope. If you wedge it on there enough, it kind of goes on, but it's like really easy to bump off. So yeah, you can maybe fudge it in a very specific way, but you're not really going to be using this. So no blast effects for Generations Wheeljack. Sad face. But this is a very cool figure. It was a kind of an unexpected thing for me. It was just right place, right time, right price. But like, this guy, he's very cool. I do like this quite a bit, and I've never really cared much about tracks, so having the Wheeljack version appeals to me greatly. I also like just the color scheme and the design a little bit better personally. But yeah, it is a neat figure. Very, very cool, and I feel like you really can't go wrong with this or the Generations version. I don't have Earthrise Wheeljack or any other iterations thereof to compare him to, but I do have that box set on pre-order that I'm still waiting for BBTS to get in stock. Who knows, by the time this video goes live, maybe I'll actually have it. But the point is, I don't have any modern, like any of like that Wheeljack to compare this guy to yet. But I will, and I'll inevitably eventually make a video on that guy, and when I do, if I still have this, I plan to still have it by then, but if I do, then we'll do a side-by-side there. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. Cool figure, interesting transformation. I wish that the legs extended a little further, maybe. I definitely wish that this didn't sit quite as far down as it does. It also would be nice if the slider locked in, but it's not loose enough that I'm too worried about pushing it down. It's just easier than I'd like. But anyway, I've kind of talked in circles at this point. So, United Wheeljack, what do you all think of this guy? Whatever your thoughts, or by extension, Generations Wheeljack. Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you everybody for watching, and next video is, I don't know, absolute shrugs right now. No idea. We'll see.